It's blue, round, sweet, grows on a bush and can boost your brain power. If you answered blueberries, you would be right. Well, that should be mostly right. The brain boosting part needs a bit more science to catch up to the headlines, but it is looking promising that blueberries may be one food worthy of the superfood title. In this podcast, I'll look at the science behind how blueberries can help keep your brain healthy and functioning well throughout life. Welcome to the Thinking Nutrition Podcast. My name is Tim Crow, and I'm a career researcher, educator, and science communicator, with most of this spent in the field of nutrition. How do you make sense of so much conflicting information in the field of nutrition? While I don't profess to have all the answers in an area that is continually changing as research changes, you can count on what is covered in this podcast to be based on the whole field of nutrition science, not just selective areas that support a particular way of thinking. And this podcast will always be free from any commercial product tie-ins, endorsements, or advertisements. Just credible nutrition science presented in plain and simple language, and then translating this into what it means for your health. So, on with today's show. There is so much to be gained by having plenty of plant-based foods in your diet. While it may be tempting to stake your claim that health is all about the superfood du jour, it is the variety of foods you eat that are key to good health. But there may just be something to the claims made about berries, in particular the humble blueberry. Blueberries are one food that pops up regularly on any superfood list. Blueberries and other berries such as raspberries and blackberries are an excellent source of vitamin C, which helps protect cells against damage and aids in the absorption of iron. They also contain a decent amount of soluble fiber, which slows down the rate at which sugar is released in the bloodstream and helps to keep the digestive system happy. Blueberries have long been promoted for their brain-boosting power, but is there much merit to these claims? The link between blueberries and the brain has grown out of observations that people who eat lots of fruits and vegetables over their lifetime have a lower risk of dementia. Scientists have singled in on one particular class of chemicals found in plant foods called flavonoids that may be the active ingredient that could be protecting the brain from damage. A collection of flavonoids called anthocyanins have been getting even closer attention because of their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Anthocyanins are abundant in berries and give these foods their bright blue, red, and purple colors depending on the pH of the food. So how could the anthocyanins in berries be of benefit for the brain? The high amounts of antioxidants in blueberries may be one way they help protect brain cells from damage. In cell and animal models, berries change the way that neurons in the brain communicate in pathways involved in inflammation and cell survival. And yet more research has shown that in humans, berries can also improve cognition, motor control, and enhance neuroplasticity. An aging population means a greater number of diseases linked to older age, such as dementia. There is no certain way to prevent dementia, but scientists have been looking closer at the role that diet can play in reducing the risk of developing it, and blueberries have attracted their interest. One recent clinical trial that attracted a lot of media attention used a concentrated form of blueberry juice, high in anthocyanins. The trial involved 26 healthy adults, aged between 65 and 75 years, and I'll link to the study in the show notes. Now, half of the people drank concentrated blueberry juice each day for 12 weeks. The blueberry concentrate was equal to eating about 230 grams of whole blueberries each day. The other half of the volunteers drank a placebo drink that had a blackcurrant taste, but with no anthocyanins in it. After 12 weeks, people drinking the blueberry juice showed improvements in cognitive function, blood flow to the brain, and activation of brain areas linked with cognitive function. There was also evidence suggesting an improvement in working memory too. Several studies have also found that blueberries may also have benefits for the brain by keeping it active and improving mood, with improved mood and mental sharpness seen within just a few hours of drinking a blueberry drink compared to drinking a placebo drink. Eating berries regularly is also linked to improved heart health. Berries can have a range of cardiovascular benefits from their anti-inflammatory, antihypertensive, hypoglycemic, and anticoagulant actions. Brain health is closely linked to metabolic health, and it is not surprising that risk factors for developing dementia include high blood pressure, poor glucose control, elevated blood lipids, and central obesity. So how do berries fare in improving these metabolic problems? From a review of 22 randomized controlled trials involving over 1,200 people, which I'll link to in the show notes, regularly eating berries was found to significantly lower LDL cholesterol, blood pressure, fasting glucose, body mass index, and markers of glucose control. And a cell signaling molecule involved in inflammation called tumor necrosis factor alpha also drops when people switch to eating more berries. Fresh blueberries are great, but for convenience and price, and when they are out of season, you can't go past having frozen blueberries on hand. And as a bonus for choosing frozen, because they are processed and frozen soon after picking, the nutrient losses are small. In fact, a study from the Journal of Biomedicine and Biotechnology, which I'll link to in the show notes, found that drying and freezing blueberries had no impact on the antioxidant activity of their anthocyanin content. An aging population means a greater number of diseases linked to older age and brain decline, such as dementia. There is no certain way to prevent dementia, but scientists are looking closely at the role that diet can play in reducing the risk of developing it. Choosing a diet high in a variety of fruits and vegetables, and including some delicious blueberries and other berries, may go some way to reducing the risk of declining brain function with older age. And when it comes to blueberries, this is a case where the superfood hype may just have a little bit of solid science behind it to support it. Now onto my research wrap-up segment, where I profile a study that has grabbed my attention during the week. And for this week, it is about using fish oil to treat rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is a chronic inflammatory disorder caused when the immune system turns on itself and attacks the joints. For sufferers, it is a disabling and painful condition which can lead to substantial loss of mobility due to pain and joint destruction. One of the more popular over-the-counter treatments for rheumatoid arthritis is fish oil. Well known for its anti-inflammatory role, fish oil supplements have received a lot of attention in clinical trials, where it's been evaluated at how effective it is at easing the pain of rheumatoid arthritis. Not all clinical trials, though, show a benefit of fish oil in treating rheumatoid arthritis, but this could be related to the amount of time a person is treated and the dose of fish oil taken. A review of randomized placebo-controlled clinical trials that used fish oil containing more than 2 grams of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids, which is a combination of long-chain fatty acids called EPA and DHA, and the trials ran for a minimum of a month, has just been completed, and I'll link to it in the show notes. 18 studies made the grade and involved 1,143 people all up. Doses of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids range from 2.1 up to 9.1 grams per day, and the longest study ran for a year. 10 of the 18 studies in the review found a significant reduction in symptoms of rheumatoid arthritis with fish oil treatment. 8 studies, though, found no benefit. All but one of the negative studies used doses of omega-3 fatty acids near the lower end of the range at 3 grams per day. In general, it appears that doses of omega-3 fatty acids between 3 and 6 grams per day seem the most likely to have a pain-reducing effect in rheumatoid arthritis. Fish oil supplements can be an effective treatment for rheumatoid arthritis pain, but a person's mileage can vary greatly. Not all studies show a benefit, but even within a clinical trial, there is a spectrum of responses where some people receive great relief and others very little. If you are considering trying fish oil to help with rheumatoid arthritis, then an effective dose of long-chain omega-3s appear to be 3 grams per day. For context, a typical 1 gram fish oil capsule contains about 300 milligrams of these long-chain omega-3s of DHA and EPA. So that can add up to a lot of supplements that need to be taken each day. So that's it for today's show. You can find the show notes either in the app you're listening to this podcast on, if it supports it, or else head over to my webpage at thinkingnutrition.com.au and click on the podcast section to find this episode to read the show notes. If you find this podcast of value, then please consider sharing it with your friends and colleagues, or maybe even leave a review. This all helps increase the ranking and reach of the podcast, which means a big win for credible, evidence-based nutrition messages while helping to dilute out the crazy and making the world a slightly less confusing place. I'm Tim Crow, and you've been listening to Thinking Nutrition.